Our name says it all. K-Big is Big Mix 104 with a bigger variety.
How you doing? It's 9:07, Bill and Sylvia. In just a few minutes, Donny Osmond will be in the studio with us. But right now, here's Poco and Nothing to Hide on K-Big. You always hear a bigger variety on Big Mix 104 K-Big.
It's Bill and Sylvia along with Donny Osmond. Yeah, he's here, but I'm keeping him all to myself for a few more minutes. You can have this, though, Sacred Emotion on K-Big.
Big Mix 104 K-Big. We're the station you hear everywhere. It's Donny Osmond, Sacred Emotion. Good morning. 9:19, Bill Meyer and Sylvia Amarito here with you.
And I get the pleasure of introducing to you Donny Osmond. Hi, Donny.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm so glad you made it.
So am I. I've been on the road for 2.5 hours in that traffic.
Well, it's tough driving in from Tucson, I know.
Sylvia was giving traffic reports all morning, and Donny mentioned that when he came in, he was taking alternate freeways.
Yeah, folks, Sylvia was my guide. I was calling her from the phone in the car saying, okay, which freeway do I take now?
Yeah, I guess I steered you wrong when I told you about that PCH thing. A little too far west.
Yeah, that was a little too far.
It's great to have you here today.
Thank you.
Your CD is incredible. You're on single number 4 now? Or
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And boy, Donny Osmond's career is just taken off by leaps and bounds again. And you were saying a minute ago, a lot of people think you took a sabbatical from the music business, but that wasn't the case.
No, it wasn't the case. Back in '79, when I finished the television show with my sister, I decided I really want to get back to what I really enjoy, and that's recording back in the studio, and realized it just wasn't that easy. First of all, Donny Osmond had an image that just wasn't conducive to top 40 radio or whatever. And so I learned the hard way that it's going to take a lot longer than I thought. 10 years to be exact.
Well, you're very tenacious.
Going into the studio, cutting the demos, proving myself all over again to the industry that Donny Osmond is not what you've conjured up in your mind, or the guy of the past.
What was the reaction you got at first when you started taking the demos around to the record companies?
I wrote a song about that called Groove on the album. Incidentally, it's Peter Gabriel's favorite on the album. He thought that should have been a single. And it talks about how people gave me a lot of support, a lot of great lip service, but they're just a little too shy about putting their neck on the block, except for a few people. You know, there's Frank Rand, who signed me to Epic, and then there was a lot of other people who really believed in me, Peter, and said this thing will work given time.
How did you hook up with Peter Gabriel? How'd that all come about? You know, because we heard the rumors Peter Gabriel producing Donny Osmond, but you tell us the real story.
Well, it was almost a fluke in a way. I was doing this charity show in New York at the UN building, and Peter was on the show as well, and we met backstage, and he told me about a time back, I think in '73, when he flew over and saw me at the Madison Square Gardens. Because he said, not that I was a fan of your music, Donny, but I was just very interested in the hysteria about what was referred to as Osmond Mania. And he said, I was just wondering what you're doing with your music nowadays. And I told him what I'm going through, the perception in people's minds versus the reality of me. And he looked at me and said, you know something? This is going to work. And that was a breath of fresh air, particularly hearing it from Peter Gabriel.
Sure, what a shot in the arm.
He invited me to come over to England, start cutting the album at his studio. And from that point on, people started looking at me in a little different light. No, as a matter of fact, it was before that. I did a Jeff Beck video.
You did?
Yeah, called Ambitious.
On MTV?
On MTV. And people seeing Donny Osmond singing rock and roll on MTV was a little bit out of the ordinary. And that's what started turning people's heads.
Now, here in the States, something rather interesting happened. A DJ started playing one of your records and introduced you as the mystery artist.
That's right, yeah.
So you were ahead in Europe?
You know, I can understand why, because that past image, and I don't really like to talk about that word image at all, but that past image was one that people were a little bit afraid of, because it wasn't the coolest thing in the world. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves.
Well, you were cool when it was happening.
When it was at the time, sure.
Just that they forgot, like everyone else, grows up.
The Donny Marie show was great for the time. It got the ratings. You know, songs like Puppy Love and all that stuff back in the early 70s, they were great for the time. But it was such a stereotypical image that was very difficult to break out of. So that's why they called me the mystery artist. They were a little afraid to mention that they were playing Donny Osmond music. as strong as it was, and as many requests as it was getting on telephone.
Isn't it crazy when you think about it?
It is. It is. But I can understand it because we're living in a society where image is so important. It's very important.
What finally happened when that radio station told the people that it was Donny Osmond?
Well, they were playing the record for 1 week, and this was Soldier of Love. As a matter of fact, it was this time last year, almost a year to the date, and the requests started coming in. Say, I want to hear that Soldier record by the Mystery Artist, and I think a couple nights it was the #1 requested record in New York City.
Bet.
Well, they called me up and they said, we want to fly you out here to New York. And we want you to reveal to New York City who you are.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so I said, with apprehension, I accepted because I didn't want to kill the requests. Because I thought, no, the public's going to say, this is Donny Osmond.
Can't we wait another week?
Yeah, so I flew out there, and just the exact opposite thing happened. I announced it, and the request lines even went further. We played another track, my favorite track off the album, which is Faces in the Mirror, and some urban stations were calling up saying, who is this? They didn't go quite that far, but
that must have been so
but Soldier got
exciting
some urban play too.
Well, you naturally think that people would cling to you because we're all about the same age in this room. We're all the lower end of the baby boom, so you're going to get support from people that we all grew up together. You've got that's got to happen. And
I experienced something, Sylvia, this past tour. I was touring from September to the middle of December. And I didn't know what to expect because I didn't know who would be showing up at the concert, which age group or whatever. It was primarily 18 to 25, female mainly. There were guys coming, and they were coming with reluctance. Danny, as my girlfriend drug me here, But after the show, they realized, wow, man, this is unbelievable. But I remember looking out there in the audience and seeing all age groups. I saw 6-year-old kids. Young teenagers, 13, 14 years old, jumping up and down screaming, just like in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Like I said, the 18 to 25, the young adults, the parents. And I even saw some grandma and grandpas out there to remember me from the Andy Williams show in the 60s, man.
Way
That's
to
wonderful
go.
to have, really it is.
Donny Osmond's in the studio with us. We're going to be playing some more of his music in just a couple of seconds right here on K-Big. Fresh pork sausage for breakfast at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
It's 9:29 at K-Big, and before we get back to Donny Osmond, let's take a look at our forecast.
It's going to be a beautiful one today, mostly sunny skies with northeast winds below the passes and canyons. We still have this Santa Ana condition in effect, and it'll be with us for a couple of days yet. Highs today, mid to upper 70s. Then tomorrow, look for occasional high clouds. Highs will be in the lower 70s. Donny, we're going to let you introduce your next song from the album, I'm In It For Love, which is just a great new single. Tell us about it.
Well, In It For Love is not going to be a single, Bill.
Oh, okay.
Let me correct you there. It was a single. As a matter of fact, it was my first single over in England. I started this whole album over there, and that was the first one. That kicked off the whole album, but Soldier of Love was the first one over here. But this will not be a single here, and the reason why I want you to play this because it's probably one of my favorite ballads on the record. This is actually the 4th version of this song.
Fourth and final?
Fourth and final. I finally got it right after the 4th version.
Okay, well, here it is on K-Big. A bigger mix of all your favorites on Big Mix 104 K-Big. Our special in-studio guest, Donny Osmond, I'll Be Good to You. And before that, I'm In It For Love. It's Bill Meyer, Sylvia Amarito here at 9:38.
Donny, got a story about that song?
Yes, I do. Matter of fact,
Kind of thought you might.
Sometimes artists take so long to cut an album. Sometimes, Tears for Fears took 3-4 years
I think so.
for their follow-up. This album was about a year in the making, but that song was not on the original album that was released over in England. And we held up the album a little bit to put this on. We cut it in 2 days.
Sometimes you just
cut it,
have
mixed
to.
it, everything in 2 days. When you have a deadline.
Yeah, work fast and hard.
That's right.
That's doing great. Now, we were talking off the air a minute ago about how you met your wife.
Yes, it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Tell us.
You sure you want me to tell you?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, she was dating my brother. And I mowed his grass and took over.
To put it bluntly.
Yes.
So you've been married for, 12 years?
12 years, yeah.
12 years
great.
now.
Yeah.
And you got a new album coming out, huh? Got to put this one
Well, it's not
away
coming
for a
out
while, or
yet,
what?
Sylvia. I'm working on it now, doing a lot of the writing, figuring out in my mind exactly which direction I want to go. I want to say some things on this album, whether it's going to be a concept album or not, like Janet's album, or just an album full of real strong material with good strong lyrics. I want to say a little bit more in my lyrics.
As far as what?
I'll keep that. I'll keep that back right now, okay? But there are certain things I do want to come out and say. I don't want to get too deep because I'm not a politician. I don't want to get political with my lyrics. But there are certain things that need to be said as far as I'm concerned. I've been in this business a long, long time. And I see a lot of interesting faking that's taking place in this business using marketing tools. Well, I don't want to get into all that right now, but the album I'm currently working on, I'm hoping that maybe by the fall it will be out. So I'll precede that with a tour.
Definitely. Oh, good. So you'll be back in L.A. for the tour. Yeah. I'm hoping.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we'll be coming through Los Angeles.
You did 40 dates on the last tour. Do you plan to do any sort of a world tour in the future?
Well, I will for this album because Capitol has this album now worldwide, whereas this first one, they didn't. So I'll probably kick off the album over in Europe, maybe, and take it to the Orient and finish up here in the United States. Those are all tentative plans.
Sure.
I mean, everything's apt to change, but we'll see what happens.
Now,
but I really want to take my time with this. I don't want to rush it out.
Sure.
Because it's going to be, hopefully, it's got to be very, very strong.
So if it's not wrapped up and ready to go by fall, we can look for it in 1991.
Look for it in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah, look for it in the fall. I really want to give this out. Because the reason why this album has to be really, really good is because Donny Osmond basically got the industry's attention with this album. This album has done more for me than I thought it would. And the next one, I think, will convince them. And by the third album, everyone will be totally convinced that Donny Osmond's serious about his music. And he's not just a fluke artist.
Well, you seem to have it lined up exactly right, so we wish you nothing but all the best always.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to hear what the message is going to be in the next album.
Well, there might be several.
Okay,
so
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Donny, thank you for your time today, and thank you for all the great music that you put out.
You're welcome, Bill.
It's fantastic.
Nice meeting you guys.
Nice meeting you, too.
All right.
941 at KBIL.
I love a laugh and a smile every once in a while.
Hey there, Sylvia Amarito here. That was the Donny Osmond interview. Hope you liked it. He was a really fun guy to talk with, very real, very down-to-earth. I still have the cookie that he took a bite out of that day in the studio. You can tell by the picture it's in pieces now, but I cherish it. And he autographed the paper plate it was sitting on, too, so thanks for that, Donny. Well, listen, like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you'll know when we upload more of these very cool interviews from my days at KBIG 104, and I have a few from KNAC, so those will be great to hear as well. Hope you enjoyed the Donny interview. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll catch you on the flip side. See ya!